So essentially, I'm going to talk about how I made the decision to become an electrical engineer, why actually I decided to choose that major. And the thing is, it was pretty difficult actually to get to that decision. And now that I look back, it truly started like back when I was the end of my high school junior year. That's when I think the process actually started to being cemented. And the hardest time was when I actually had to make the decision, which is freshman year of my no second semester of my freshman year. So what about the process? Well, as I mentioned, started back in high school. So I remember that in high school, they make us take a personality test, and through that, essentially, like they try to match you with some profession. So I looked through that, and I also went off what I enjoyed at the time, which was essentially mathematics and drawing at the same time, and try to find stuff that could bring those together. But after that, I didn't think much about it. But also, what guided me was this vision that I have is essentially to bring universal literacy. And how I came to find that vision was very much through my high school research paper. I looked at the evolution or the progress actually of the Millennium Goals, particularly the education ones, and it struck me that I actually like technology could improve that. So, and I thought about how can it be improved? What can I do to improve that? And also another big factor, I listened to this TED Talk from Nicholas Negroponte, who's the creator of One Laptop Per Child. That is, look that up if you don't know actually what it is. And I truly, what he talked about truly struck me to the core, and I believed that that is something I would like to be part of, or something pretty much that is like that. I really would want to be part of that. And so the big guidance that I got once I got here at Notre Dame was my college academic advisor. So he created this guide, right? And I followed through it. And I was essentially struggling with the decision of whether or not I wanted to become an industrial engineer, or industrial designer, or an electrical engineer. So I followed through the guide, and it gives you not really step by step instruction, but some common exercises that you should try to feel which major is right for you. So when it comes to industrial design, I read about IDEA, which is a really popular design firm. I looked at what they did, and I really felt like it was something I wanted to do. So I went and talked to sorry about that, to the advisor of the School of Design, and I got a bunch of papers that showed me the classes, descriptions, and I got to read about the classes. I was like, oh, yeah. Much of those classes weren't really not in my domain. Mainly art history, which is, oh, I'm sorry. I mean, it's just not my thing. I understand some people that like it, but for me, that doesn't really fly. So after that, over Christmas break, I watched this BBC series called The Genius of Design, or Genius in Design. I don't remember exactly the title, but it was really interesting. But also, by watching it, I realized that industrial designers don't necessarily work directly with electronics, which is what I want to do. I mean, I know some of them do, but what is the path they take? Is it a direct route, or is there another way? So then I realized that their likeliness that I start by designing stuff that I don't want is very high. Like, I mean, I don't want to knock on industrial designers, but I really don't want to design doorknobs, man. Seriously, doorknobs? Just at me, alright? So I reconsidered the industrial design major, and then I listened to iTunes U lecture, which is one of the steps recommended by my advisor's guide. And on this entrepreneur talk, I heard this guy talk about he essentially is a designer. No, he's an engineer at a design firm, and I really liked what he was doing. He wasn't necessarily doing the job of a designer, but he was very much part of the process. And it's not necessarily that I want to be a designer, but being part of the process is something that I want to do, but being really closely related to the internal workings of the electronic device that might change the world of education in the third world. So that truly was one of the big, like after I heard that talk, 75% I was electrical engineering and still 25 industrial engineering because, you never know. And a final decision came about when I actually talked to a friend of mine who pointed out to me that, hey, being a designer can wait. And if you see that becoming an engineer will lead you to a direct path to working with the devices, electronic devices, more directly than being a designer would, go for industrial engineer, becoming an electrical engineer, then try to figure out how to become a designer later. And that essentially made my decision after that was 100% electrical engineer. And I guess the hardest part was actually sticking through the first semester because there's essentially only weed out classes. Chemistry mainly for me. Even now I have a chemistry class that I truly, truly do not enjoy. But I guess that's just me. And one of the biggest, toughest thing to find when you're making the decision is essentially people to talk to. People to give you good advice. So my advice to you is talk to people. Think hard. Reflect on everything you hear. Then repeat the process until you are 100% sure of the choice you're making. It's not about what's easier. It's not about what's hardest. It's about, is it in line with your vision? Is it what you want to do? Is it something you see yourself doing after college? And so I hope this helps. And definitely, I'm happy. I'm glad that I've been through this and that I know exactly what I want to do. Alright, good luck on your search. And I hope that you too find what you want to do, what you want to learn. Right.